to back, reorder to back, and scripting appears at the end here. I'm using not a massive resolution. I'm using a monitor. I'm using a display that allows you to see actually what the hell I'm doing. I find it sometimes frustrating when people have massive resolution and you cannot see what's going on. So, scripting. Now, if I click on that, then what that gives me, my default, is the viewport here. And it's tiny because that's not really what it's all about. Really, you just want this for testing and validating things. Then you have the Python console, where you can do one-off actions, I don't know, 1 times 2. And that is presumably not the version of Python, because I don't think we're there yet. It's specifically the interactive console version. And this is where we write our text for the scripts. So if I start to where I'm twiggling here, if I start to type, don't get anything. If I now say new, and then I go to text and I say new, this is all a bit unnecessarily clunky, I would have said, but fine. So the first thing I need to do is the must-have module is import BPY, which I assume stands for Blender Python. And here I could just say print I and just click the play script, the run script. Alt P evidently is the shortcut, and that has come down here. But we don't actually see anything at this point. Now, to see that, let's see, view, yeah. To see that, I need to go to Window and toggle System Console. Now, somewhere that will have brought up a second window. Let's do that again because it didn't appear to work that time. Window, toggle, System Console. Here we go. Okay, so if we do that, then I get stuff back. So that's terrific. So I'll keep that to one side for now. So that's a first basic proof that we're working. So now we've got that, we can now say save as, and I'll just save it in here, and I'll call it script 01.py. So that's in my documents folder. Good enough. Going to delete it later. Now, in Blender, the default the shortcut key is Alt S. And it says down here, save text there. So I was doing, I can't remember now, Control S, presumably. Doesn't follow any convention that I know, but that's fine. And also, if you go here, you'll see save is Alt S. Okay, so that's a first tentative step, but none of this has involved Blender. So if we start to get into that then, and quite heavily actually, because what I want to do, I want to know if I want to, first thing I want to do is to programmatically set object or edit mode. So there's a function, a method in Blender API, which is this ops object edit mode toggle. So if I just dumbly run that, then it went from object mode to edit mode. And if I now play again, it switches back to object mode, and that's great. So that's a toggle. And where do you find out about this stuff? So to me, the best source is the Blender API docs, and that is right here. So it's a little bit variable in quality. So for instance, what we're doing right now is under operators. So there's a good kind of a decent anyway explanation of bpy.ops. So it's worth reading that. So that's how I got there with edit mode toggle, just kind of ploughing through the documents to see what I could do. And at first, as ever, it's even hard to, because you're not familiar with this world, know what questions to ask. Or how, yeah. So really this toggling between object mode and edit mode is an enabler for something else that I'm not going to go into. So let's say, so that seems great, doesn't it? I can toggle between object and edit mode. That's something you want to do really frequently. But again, it's obviously in the context, you can do that with tab. So why on earth would you want to do this kind of thing? As I say, it's in a bigger context. Fine. So let's say now that I click away so we don't have any objects selected. So if I now press the play button again, that all seems fine. No errors down here. We'll see what an error looks like in a minute. Now I'm intrigued that it is not blowing up right now. Okay, this is learning on the fly. So if I select all the items there and then I'm going to delete them. Okay, so now we have nothing. So if I now click play again, now that blows up. Unhelpfully, the error message is cursory here. Check the message in the system console. For that, you have to toggle across to this window. So we had our high, and then calling operator edit mode toggle error could not be found. So that's pretty handy. So that's decent debugging. Good. And if we click play again, so again we get this message down here. It'd be lovely, and there may be a way, I certainly don't know what it is right now, to actually find it out. So this time I've hopefully spelt toggle right. The context is incorrect, right? So that is shorthand for you don't actually have an object that you can switch to edit mode. So okay, fair enough. So can I switch to, if I'm in edit mode? Well, I'm not. Okay, so I don't have any object at all. So if I now do a Shift A and I add a cube as my single object, and if I now go to edit mode, so fine, even though my focus was not on the object, it evidently potentially picked the first object and the only object it could find. Now, in doing that, what's really useful as well is it tells you what the API equivalent of what we just did there was. So it's added a size of 2. It says a size of, it's all a bit difficult, it's on the downside with trying to show you everything. Item, and let's go back to there. Okay, let's go back to object mode, and that's more like it, I hope. Yes. Okay, I was in edit mode, object mode, and we see we got dimensions x, y, and z of 2 meters. So what that gives you insight into what's going on here. So it's created a primitive of a cube. The size is 2 meters. The location is 0, 0, 0, and the scale is 1, 1. And we can see it's done all that, so that's terrific. So let's move that back to where it was. Right. Okay. So this time, so let's just run that again. So that was evidently okay. And so here it is, happily toggling between the 2 modes in the top left hand thing as I run it, which again, as we say, could be achieved by tab. Now, if I'm in object mode and I've not selected it, God, bloody hell, it was blowing up a minute ago, you sod. Okay, think I've got it. I'm doing something slightly different, in fact, to what I did from my dry run, which is